I'm very pleased to be standing up here on 2/22/22. I will probably never do that again. I don't think I'm young enough to make it to the next one, but I do want to recognize the two Kiwanians we have here today who remember the last time the date was 2/22/22, and they're sitting together. That's Tom Moxley and Nick Gady. I am honored to introduce my friend Natasha Rogers. She is an excellent public relations and media specialist. She started at Miles College. She got her BA in mass communications, cum laude. Then she got her master's in communications management from UAB, summa cum laude. She has worked for CNN, for NBC, for KNOE in Monroe, Louisiana. Then she came back to Birmingham, where she was an associate producer for WVTM 13, the NBC affiliate here in town. Then she was an assignment editor for WIAT 42, the CBS affiliate. She was director of media relations for Miles College for a considerable period of time. And she has a lot of experience in nonprofit management. She was director of events for Railroad Park Foundation for 5 years. And then she was executive director of the Negro Southern League Museum. She either is now or has taught public speaking and communications at Miles College, Lawson State Community College, and UAB. She is the founder and owner of 1221, which is a boutique PR firm that caters especially to new, small, and mid-sized organizations. Natasha, come on up. Folks, let's give a warm Kiwanis welcome to our moderator.
Entrepreneurship is the art of turning an idea into venture. Prominent entrepreneurs of our time, like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Mark Zuckerberg, embody the American dream and change the way we live, work, and play. Research reiterates the importance of entrepreneurship. It creates wealth, job opportunities, and improves our local economy. While the beginnings of entrepreneurship traces back to New Guinea in 17,000 BCE, it wasn't until 1881 the first Black-owned business opened and operated inside the American legal structure of business, making E.E. Ward Moving and Storage the oldest continuously operated Black-owned company in the country. The emancipation of the Black entrepreneur will explore entrepreneurship through the experiences of 4 community leaders in the fields of health, law, communication, and the nonprofit sector. We will discuss topics that impact Black entrepreneurship in the areas of infrastructure, education, funding, and inclusion. While Black entrepreneurship is a trending topic, and some of us have made tremendous strides, in the words of Dr. King, no one is free until we all are free. Kiwanians and distinguished guests, meet today's panelists. Dr. Mia Cowan is the founder and medical director for Mibella Wellness Center. Dr. Mia completed her doctorate of medicine and residence training in obstetrics and gynecology from the Medical College of Wisconsin. Dr. Mia later earned a Master of Business Administration degree from Auburn University and is a 2-time best-selling author. Please welcome Dr. Mia Cowan. Attorney Kelvin W. Howard is the founder and owner of the law offices of Kelvin W. Howard. Mr. Howard received a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Alabama and a Juris Doctorate from Thomas M. Cooley Law School in Lansing, Michigan. Recently, Kelvin was named the 2021 State of Alabama NAACP Attorney of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Attorney Kelvin W. Howard. Lloyd Watson is the founder and CEO of the Penny Foundation, a nonprofit organization that serves as a community chest working to eliminate economic inequality in the Black community. Mr. Watson earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Management from Sanford University and a master's degree in divinity from the Beeson Divinity School. Lord is a former member of the Birmingham Board of Education and is a minister of religious education at Tabernacle Baptist Church located in the Smithfield community. Lord is married to the lovely Katrina Watson, who serves as the president and executive director of the Literacy Council. Please welcome Lloyd Watson. Joe Lockett is the founder and CEO of Lockett In Media. You can tune in and listen to the Joe Lockett Show Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. on 92.5 FM. When Joe is not in the studio, you can catch him spreading a little magic across the city through his Lock and Learn program, which collects and distributes school supplies. So far, Joe has distributed over 4,000 backpacks to the next generation of leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joe Lockett. Also joining us today is Justina Howard, founder and makeup artist of Aware Cosmetics and Makeup Services. Justina has provided professional services for various mediums for over 30 years. Her client list includes People Magazine, Nick Saban, Condoleezza Rice, and the Food Network. Justina earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in communication from Miles College and received a Beauty Essentials certification from the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, New York. Please welcome Justina Howard. Last but not least is Jarvis Escott. Jarvis is the founder and president of First Impressions Marketing Group, LLC. Jarvis earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in marketing from the University of Alabama at Birmingham. He received the Entrepreneur Spotlight Award from the Birmingham Business Journal, the Best in Minority Business Award from Wells Fargo, and named one of Birmingham's top 40 under 40. Please welcome Jarvis Escott. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Mr. Courtney Little of FM Live a round of applause for that great opening video. Thank you so much, Courtney. Also, if you want to become an active participant in today's conversation, only thing I need you to do is answer the audience question of the day. We will reveal your responses at the end of today's program. Panelists, are you ready? Yes. Okay, very good. Let's jump right in. Now, there are many reasons why someone chooses the route of entrepreneurship. You are in control. It allows you to leave a legacy. And for some, they have no other choice. This question is for each of you. What was the catalyst that started you on your entrepreneurial journey? And discuss the trials and tribulations you faced along the way.
Well, I knew since I was in 7th grade that I was going to be a doctor. And back then I decided that I would own my own practice. And as I continued to go through my education, I realized the need for me in my community, specifically when I was getting my master's in health education and promotion. My focus was the health disparity experienced by African Americans in the United States of America. And I realized that in order for me to truly make change in that area, I needed to start my own business so I can practice medicine the way I want to practice medicine and give African Americans, especially in this area, access to health care that they would not normally get. So that was my initial catalyst.
That's a tough follow. Good afternoon. I would say mine was out of necessity. Wasn't making any money. In the career path that I had chosen, I came to a huge black hole stop sign. So I had to pull it together and move forward. And I'm thankful to God for that opportunity, to have an opportunity to open up my own practice and provide opportunities for others.
So, I think my spark came in 2 different settings. When I was a child, I had a necessity to start a business. We were going to Disney World and I wanted to be able to buy popsicles. That's when I started my first business at age 7, selling worms, selling bait to people going fishing. But for this particular iteration, I think for me, it was sitting in seminary, looking for a model of ministry. looking at African-American pastors in the state of Alabama, and I came across the name of William Reuben Pettiford. And what I saw what he did by leading a group of Birmingham residents to start the first Black banking institution in the state of Alabama, it spoke to me. And so my entrepreneurship is a function of my ministry. I think the challenges that I have faced in starting the Penny Foundation is that we are the third community foundation in the nation that was started by Black people and is ran by Black people. And so we're a unicorn, and we're also the only one in the Southeast. And so it's an education process, and then it is also the process of staying here. So we've been open since 2017, and we still got the doors and lights on, and we still moving forward.
For me, it was more so of understanding legacy, watching my grandfather, my grandmother suffer. And then I watched my mom and dad work a blue collar job and, saying what they wanted to try to leave us, but they couldn't. I knew working a 9 to 5 that, that my parents and my grandparents did the best they could. And as I started to look around, the only way to change the legacy, to change the structure of the Lockett family was to become an entrepreneur. The struggles that I've had with this is, my legacy was not there. My grandparents, my mother and dad couldn't teach me how to be an entrepreneur. So of course I had to go, we all have to go through the school of hard knocks. So, 9 years of being a radio talk show host, on my own radio show. And as Lord and everybody have said, we're still here.
Very good. Okay, Lord, this next question is for you. Why do you think the term Black entrepreneurship, or the subject in general, is a trending topic at this point in time in our history?
Wow, that's a good question. So I answer that from, I guess, my beliefs and my thoughts around that topic. And the first, I think, is a sexy topic. I think that when you look at what has happened since COVID started, or the social unrest in 2020, I think that is safe. I think some companies feel like it's safe. It's something that you can invest in that's not risky. Also, I think it is particularly hot right now because Black buying power is so large right now. Right? And so what you also have is you have African-American business owners who are seeing the buying power and trying to figure out and push and elevate the narrative around telling the story of the trials and struggles, the triumphs of being in business, particularly being a Black entrepreneur.
Now, from a historical perspective, what factors have impacted Black entrepreneurship, and what changes would you recommend to help reshape the outlook?
So I believe entrepreneurship, it doesn't just start in a vacuum, right? I think entrepreneurship starts in community, how we grow up, what we have seen and what we have seen model. And so when I think about factors, I think there are positive factors, I think there are negative factors. Positive factors, I believe that Black people have always been creative. And so entrepreneurship, the spirit of entrepreneurship is something that you just have. You take what you got and you create to get what you need. And so that's just part of being an entrepreneurship. I think when it comes to looking at some of the negative factors, right? It's really, from a historical context, is resources. And so if you think about the Freedmen's Bureau, and when Black families started to put money into the banking system, and all of a sudden that system was taken away and those funds were just gone, right? And so think about if some of those families who put money into that institution was still passing that wealth forward today, how much that would be, how many businesses that could have been started off of that, right? And then you look at what has been modeled, right? And so anytime, at least from my research, when in history, when you look at organizing and empowerment and Black communities starting to move forward, something happened. So whether it was Tulsa, that was a thriving Black business district, and all of a sudden it went away, right? Or Tobacco Row in North Carolina, same thing. And so that's one of the things that today we haven't seen what those communities and what those business structures were like in order to model it.
Thank you. Now, Kelvin, You are a country boy at heart from Tuscaloosa, and you brought your mama here with you today.
That's right. And you have me in between the doctor and the preacher. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Come on with it.
Okay, well, so fun. Growing up, is it safe to assume
Yes,
that you were
yes,
taught
yes, yes,
to earn good grades,
yes,
go to school,
yes, ma'am.
and
And
finish
get a
it up
job with some good
with some
benefits.
good benefits? Correct.
I know some of our people in this audience, they can empathize with that. You need to get you some benefits because you're not going to be on my insurance.
Right.
And for some of us, you might not have any insurance.
Okay. In your opinion, how has this mentality impacted African Americans as it relates to entrepreneurship?
It has and it hasn't. It has to the extent that I will only speak for myself. As stated, you're capable. Get your education. Get your lesson, boy. If you really want to be candid, get your lesson. Start it there fundamentally. I love to play sports, love music, but get your lesson. What are you going to do if all that fails? Get your lesson. At a fundamental level, that doesn't necessarily lend itself because you're in a vacuum. It's kind of a format. So you go along this journey. You want to get the good grades, be in the top 10% for us lawyers, and get this internship and get this good job. But it's not a reality because our good job is not everybody else's good job. It's a limit. So that's not being an entrepreneur. It's making money or making someone else wealthy. So to a certain extent, as Laura says, and I learned from him, anything over 99 cents is what? Is business. And he's right. So it didn't lend itself for that culturally. I had some male influences in my life that encouraged me to step out and do my own thing. But you got to have money. You got to have resources. You can't just think about it. So hand in hand, I'm thankful for the initial lessons and the teachings of my family. But as far as becoming an entrepreneur, for myself, it was a jump out the window type of situation because I had to.
So do you think the strategy you were taught is still a viable option for today's youth? And no matter your perspective, what is needed to help prepare the next generation of leaders?
Money. I just joked on the way here about that I paid down my student loan debt is under $200,000. If you can imagine what that loan debt is. Money. Now, the educational component is a great thing, but you've got to pursue a path. If coronavirus taught any of us here, you got to provide a service that people need. Because if you don't, you're not going to make any money. And again, it's money, money, money. And after the money, it's opportunity. And if you have the opportunity, you have to have an opportunity to learn what to do with the money once you get it. Because as he said, our community spins. They put it out there because they know we're going to buy it. Spins. You have people, name brand, all this kind of stuff. It's incredible, but they know we're going to spend. So it's a money more so than anything else.
Very good. Dr. Mia, well, you have been in business for over 10 years. First of all, just congratulations for that. Unfortunately, many companies will not reach that particular milestone because, as we were talking about, they lack access to capital. Talk to us about your economic journey and what it has taken to grow and sustain your business.
Well, I started my practice after I worked 4 years for Jefferson County at Cooper Green Hospital, where I served the indigent population of Jefferson County. And at that moment, when I was doing that, I realized that it was time for me to start my business. So I did go to Auburn and get a physician's executive MBA so I would know how to run a business because they don't teach us that in medical school. And then I started my practice with less than $250,000, and I was not able to access any more capital until after COVID. Not because I didn't generate revenue, you know, not to brag, but I am a seven-figure business. And was a seven-figure business before COVID. However, I didn't have the same access to funds that many people have. I went to several banks in the area to get funding so that I could purchase my own building, and I was unable to receive any funding. I was actually directed to go to a venture capitalist. But thank God, I do have a wonderful CPA firm that I work with a great chief financial officer. And because I don't come from a family of entrepreneurship, all of this was completely new to me. So a lot of things that people in other communities may have known how to access these funds, or they may have been able to go back to their family and get funds, that was not an option for me. So what I had to do was work really hard. So when I started my practice, I spoke at every event that I was asked to speak at for free. I worked on Saturdays. I moonlighted in Grove Hill, Alabama. I saw patients Monday through Saturday. I started with a very small staff. I started with 0 patients because I came from Cooper Green Hospital, and my practice is now on 280, where I serve all races, ethnicities, socioeconomic statuses. So very different population from what I served at Cooper Green, but I was not advised correctly. You know, I went through all the same processes that all doctors go through. They have certain banks that you work with. They have certain firms that you work with. And I definitely was not ever given the right information. So as I continued to network and work really hard and start to generate revenue, I went to several banks again to try to get capital. So I'm running a business for over 10 years on less than $250,000 during a time when healthcare is not a major moneymaker in the United States of America, especially for doctors. It is for some people, but not for physicians. COVID hit, and thank God I had a great CPA firm, so all of my money and everything was in order. I was able to qualify for PPP because nobody could tell me no. For the first time, a bank could not tell me no for whatever reason. So I finally got access to capital. And when I got that access to capital, I used it correctly. I was able to qualify for EIDL because I didn't have to go to the bank. They didn't have to see my face. They didn't know who they were giving that money to. And it was something that I got because I qualified for it. And that was what allowed me to actually be able to grow my business, to purchase my own building with my husband on 280. And I've been in 3 spaces since then, you know, so I started with my little 2-room practice, 2 exam rooms in Inverness, and then I moved up to Meadowbrook where I had about 6, and now I'm in Greystone where I have 11 rooms. But, and I will have to say this, but God, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't because I had access to resources. It wasn't because I had access to capital. I didn't even really have access to information. But the good news is that now we have masterminds that we can go to with people that look like me, that care about me, and that really give me the right information so that I could grow my business. So access to capital was really hard for me. And unfortunately, if you think about it, I'm a physician with a master's and an MBA, and I could not get capital generating that amount of revenue in a solo-owned practice by one physician. So imagine what the rest of my community has to deal with.
Very good. At this point, I want to transition, and I would love to bring up Justina Howard and Jarvis Escott into the conversation, please. Now, currently, there are many programs funded by various corporations and nonprofit organizations locally and nationwide to assist Black-owned businesses. Justina, if you can come to the podium. You have taken advantage of some of those local opportunities. From your experience, how beneficial were those programs in taking your business to the next level?
Thanks for the opportunity to speak about this. I have participated in several of capacity building programs, accelerator type programs, and I appreciate receiving the small grants that I have received from 2 of the programs, but they really didn't even put a dent into what I really needed for my business to grow. I did learn helpful tips from the various programs, but a lot of the information provided by these programs were, finance, marketing, business education. They were all general and basically all the same information and geared toward more, I'd say, entrepreneurs just starting out and not those that have been in business for a long time. Majority of the programs promote really assisting you with getting ready and help to get loans. And lenders have strict criteria that can make it really difficult for a small business owner to get a loan. So that forces some of us to have to work a full-time job to be able to sustain our lifestyle and to also to fund our small businesses, which can be, of course, stressful and really tiring. While participating in these programs, I could have really benefited from a business coach who actually had experience within my industry, information on other funding sources such as grants, and also follow up from these particular programs to see if I needed additional assistance from them, or just to see how I was doing on my path. It seems as though once they get a lot of your data for reporting and surveys, they're pretty much done with you.
Jarvis, just like Justina, you have participated in various programs and earned multiple certifications to designate First Impressions Marketing LLC as an official minority-owned and operated business. In your opinion, has that increased your marketability or even giving you a competitive edge?
Well, I'm gonna say good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, no, it has not, because it presented me with 2 challenges. One, when I come to companies, they will look at me and they say, well, based on my company size and my revenue, instead of my track record, I can't get the contract. Then the second challenge is if I do get the contract, it's not as much as it was with a bigger company. So in this coming April, God willing, I'll be in business for 15 years. Thank you all for that clap and thank you, Jesus. However, I will tell you this, since we all getting down to the dollars and cents, I've never got a contract here in Birmingham over $10,000.
Say that again.
I have never got a contract over $10,000 in the city of Birmingham, but I have made 6 figures. So you all add that up. So that presents a challenge and makes it very hard for me to scale. And I know we hear that word all the time about scaling, is that if you can't get the big contracts, how can I hire the employees?
Right.
Now, I'm a great employee of one, but to truly grow a business, you got to hire people to make an economic impact. So I want to thank you.
Okay, very good. Now, Lloyd, putting you on the spot. Now, the Penny Foundation encourages entrepreneurship and provides funding for Black-owned businesses. After listening to Jarvis and Justina from a funder's perspective, what can companies and nonprofit organizations do to become more useful to their grantees?
I'll say that, we have just finished a grant cycle. We just had 157 businesses to apply to our grant cycle. We'll be actually announcing awards tomorrow. And the comments that are just shared here today are comments that translate throughout the businesses that we have heard from throughout this grant process. I would say that in response to that it's infrastructure. I think that when I say infrastructure, I really mean ecosystems. It's understanding that businesses, whether it's businesses that scale, businesses that are just Main Street for community, businesses that are in the arts, businesses that are in entertainment, they all have their different nuances that we have to build ecosystems to support them and understand their individualities and their particularities in order to help them grow and thrive.
Now, this is an open question. In addition to program certifications, there are various advisory committees formed to assist and advocate for Black entrepreneurs. In your opinion, how effective are they in moving Black entrepreneurs to the next level? Anybody?
I'll jump in, because I'm real shy.
Right.
Committees and all of that they're talking about. That's nice. And I want to say this, it's not that anybody's up here, woe is me, whining and crying, none of that. That's not what the perspective that we're coming from. And if anything, we come from a perspective of being thankful to our Lord and Savior, because I think everybody up here has given that up. But on a serious note, we have to take it a step further, to do more than just sit up here and talk. We have to encourage collaboration. To, as the young lady in the invocation, put it on somebody's heart to work together. Put it in your heart. And what you do with it, or what you do at your dinner table, what you do with your golf buddies, what you do at your country club, what you do at your Kiwanis meeting. Just put it on your heart. And then maybe a change will continue to move forward, because when we come upon this time of year in February, we're talking about change. We're always talking about change, but we got to continue. We don't want to just stop. So that's where I would go, further than just having all these meetings and talking and dreaming about dreaming. Let's do something. So that's where we got to be, in my opinion.
Okay. Anyone else? We're moving along. Joe.
It's about time. I was just sitting up here, I'm like, is she ever gonna get to me?
Hey, you sitting right here.
I know, right? You're just looking at everybody else out here, but okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna make me laugh. That's why I left you laugh. Okay.
Oh, that's why.
Right. Some people native to the Magic City or Nouveau residents say our city is cliquish. The right last name or pool of friends can unlock many doors. On the other hand, if you are not in favor or a member of the inner circle and your last name does not ring a bell, it may limit your opportunities. Joe, do you agree with the statement I just made? And if so, how has this practice impacted your business and perhaps others?
Yes, I agree with your statement. Is it cliquish? Yes. Do people, I'm going to say CEOs and politicians hire their friends first? Of course they do. How has it affected me? Okay. Everybody up here, if you've seen from Jarvis to Justine to everybody up here, not big enough. I'm going to tell you guys my story really quickly here. Started my radio show 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. You're not big enough. I can't spend money with you. Okay. I work real, real hard. Get my radio show to be 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, prime time on a Saturday. Still, Joe, you're not big enough. Okay. Let me work a little bit hard. Let me go out here and do a little bit more. I go out and get my show I own, I pay for. Now I'm 4 to 5 every day, 5 days a week, prime time on radio. You're still not big enough. Now, CNN, Fox News, everybody thought I was big enough. They put me on TV. National magazines and wrote about me. But in my own city, yeah, there's a click. I'm not big enough. I'm big enough when people want to come. And I'm just going to be honest, Tosh, for a minute. I'm big enough when you want to get free advice. I'm big enough when you want to call me to ask for a favor. I'll get you when the budget comes. But I listen to radio ads and I hear your ads on other people's stations. Didn't call me back, but you knew my telephone number, or your people knew your telephone numbers to call me when you wanted something for free. You don't respect my business. Yes, it's cliquish.
What needs to happen to change this practice?
One thing I think that needs to happen is right now, 1221. They'll call you and you're one of the best PR firms out there. Me or Kyle, one of the best doctors, one of the best lawyers. Everybody, we're good. But what happens is when we look at the table, they do the NFL Rooney Rule. They'll call you in, right? Because of your ethnicity or your gender and give you the interview, make you feel good about it. And you're thinking, okay, it's a possibility. I may be able to get this contract. I may be able to get more clients. I may be able to get something. Or here's what we really do, y'all. We give more than the bigger companies do. because we want to work with you again. We'll give you the discounts. But then when we give you our real price, you don't hire us. You don't call us. That is the biggest problem. And this is why you see so many entrepreneurs leave our city and go other places, because they are tired of the cliquishness. They are tired of everything that's happening in our city. And it's unfortunate for me to say that, but I got to say this. Why is my own city, Tasha, why are we being emancipated right here? I'm done.
Just wanted to do a mic drop, huh?
Oh, you made me last. You know what I'm saying? So I had to say something. I'm a radio talk show host, so I have to do what I do.
That's the perfect segue. As we prepare to close out today's program, what do each of you want our audience to take away that will bring more clarity to the issue? We'll start with Lloyd, Jarvis, Justina, Kelvin. I said with the L, Joe, and Mia.
So, I'll be brief. I think what you will hear from small business owners, particularly that at least the ones I know about, you will hear frustration, but what you also will hear is resolve. Birmingham has a lot of potential. I think when you grow the Black business community and these small businesses, that makes it a whole lot stronger. And so I think that when we have these conversations, that we continue to think through and look at how do you build from the outside in, as opposed to from the inside out.
Latasha, thank you for this opportunity. I'm gonna try to be real fast. The first thing I want everybody to do is just Google us. Seriously, Google us. That all of us are proven, all of us got proven track records. One thing I want you all don't go off of is, don't go off of what your best friend, or you want me to say it, your best Black friend say about us. Because sometimes they may have a different opinion. And finally, I'll do a plug for myself. Please check out my website, What's Happening Birmingham.
Really?
I have an app that's on Android, iPhone called What's Happening Birmingham, and I also have a podcast that's on YouTube and Apple Podcasts as well. And thank you all again, and looking forward to having you all. I want to bring some of y'all on my podcast too. Thanks.
See, that's why I can't take you anywhere, right there. Okay, next person. Kelvin. No.
I'll be brief. First of all, Natasha, I want to thank you for making me a part of this, giving me an opportunity to express myself in front of this wonderful group of individuals. And I think this Kiwanis Club luncheon, I thank y'all for having us on 2/22/22. What I would want to, I guess, leave or take away on my drop the mic moment is just, I want us to just do something, working together. Athlete said this, Floyd Mayweather said this, and some people would say he's a dummy, but he's not. He said something that was so great that I heard him say. He said when he competed in the Olympics, he wasn't a Black athlete. He was an American Olympian. They just closed out the Olympics. And for him to say that, you hear these people from these countries, they're Germans, they're Russians, they're Chinese. But when we get back over here, you're Black. I'm a Black lawyer. I'm a lawyer. My stuff on my wall don't say Black. It say Kelvin William Howard. That's what it says. So let's change that narrative. We don't go to the bank like that's a white banker. That's a banker at Regions. That ain't what we're saying. You don't say that's a white realtor. That's a realtor for whomever. Let's change that dynamic. Now the optics are gonna be the same. When I walk in, I'm gonna be Black Kelvin. The optics are gonna be the same. Probably when you answer the phone and you hear my Black voice, you're gonna be like, that's Black Kelvin. But let's spend some green money.
All right.
That's all. Thank y'all.
Okay, go ahead. She's not gonna do it. Lord, no, Joe?
Um,
Oh.
I would say, Tasha, it's as you stated earlier. I think for us as a community, we just need to be able to grow. We need to be able to work together with one another. You know, we're not doing this for us. It's not for us. It's for the next generation. They shouldn't have to suffer for what we done went through. We didn't have to suffer with what people before us went through. It has to continue to get better. And I want people to understand, to say that, you know, I know some people looking at us right now, Tasha, saying, you know, well, y'all done come a long way. We have. And I don't, you know, not recognize that. But I say going to the next level, we have to continue to get better. So like you said, Calvin, I am a radio talk show host. I'm not a Black radio talk show host. You always say you want the best. Well, hire the best people and stop looking at our color.
Well, I will say what I have learned, and by studying history, is that truly and honestly, the only people who are going to save us are us. It would be great to be able to collaborate. So I know that what I have to do is continue to build a successful business, build wealth, and have the opportunity to offer people that look like me the same opportunities that I've had, and be able to teach them about entrepreneurship and give them the insights that we may not always get. So I think the only way I can help is to build more wealth so that I can specifically help people that look like me and collaborate as much as I can.
Kiwanians and esteemed community leaders, we hope by sharing the experiences of a few local entrepreneurs in the fields of health, law, communication, and the nonprofit sector, that we have shed a different light on an issue that truly impacts us all. We understand one 60-minute presentation is not going to change the issue. At the conclusion of today's program, we will shake hands, maybe do fist bumps, snap a few pictures for Instagram, and continue on business as usual. However, we challenge you today to be the change you want to see, not for us, but for the next generation of leaders.
To assist your local community and to become the change you want to see, here are 5 things you can do today to positively impact your local minority-owned businesses.
Disclosure. Certify that companies report their spending with minority-owned businesses individually versus collectively to provide the public with an accurate and clear view of the money they have spent.
Promote. Market minority-owned businesses. Make connections through word of mouth, digital platforms, and networking.
Invest. Establish and provide funding to support a variety of minority-owned businesses.
Legislation. Support new legislation at all levels that uplift minority-owned businesses.
Ask. Engage with your local minority entrepreneur, ask them what they need, and support their businesses.
Take action with these 5 methods to help the community around you and to create a better, more inclusive business environment for generations to come.
So I have to do this shameless plug. My students have worked very hard on their video and they're here. If you all could please stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. They really didn't know what they was in bargain for in a public speaking class. Yes, you're gonna do video production too. There you go, okay. So thank you all so much for attending the Emancipation of the Black Entrepreneur. Now it's time to reveal the responses to the audience question of the day, and we will open up the floor for Q&A. And that will conclude today's program. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Okay, so any questions? If you filled out the audience of the day card and you went to the QR code, these are some of the things you all said that you needed. What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to become a successful entrepreneur? And this is a word bank of some of the things that you all have put in place. If your word is not there, feel free to still use that QR code and we can pull it up. Any questions for the panelists at this point in time? None? Okay, very good. Let's give them a round of applause.
issue of the diversity or lack thereof in the profession and law firms not appreciate diversity.
Please tell them who you are and the wonderful organization that you are the head of. I just wanted y'all to know we was addressing. We were doing lawyer talk, but that's somebody right there. That's a heavy sister right there, Miss Armstrong. Thank you.
I have a question. Let's get it right. I've been to a lot of cities, and I have yet visited a city where I see so much talent in general in Birmingham, but amongst the African Americans in Birmingham in particular. So I'm just wondering, what can be done to speed up the process to have a color-blind society in Birmingham where this talent that I've witnessed, I share this with my friends at home all the time, what can be done so that others in this city will recognize what I recognize and actually do something to promote and to support these businesses? And I'll ask anybody on that.
Well, one thing I would say, first and foremost, and I think you ought to agree, we have to take responsibility. As a Black community, we have to do better. We have to make sure that, our crime rates come down a lot more. We need to be able to work together. There's some things that we say that we're crabs in the barrel.
Mm.
I mean, we can't put it all on the outside world. It's a lot of things that, as we preached up here, we have to do. I think, Mia, you said it best. We have to do a lot of stuff ourselves, y'all. And we are doing a really bad job of actually just doing the part that we can do. We have to lift up each other. And we are not doing that. So I think that's what we need to start working on us a lot more in families and in our communities and with our kids.
So when I think about the question, speed is one thing. I have to be careful with speed, right? I think that I've been in Birmingham since '97, and I've seen growth. I've seen movement. Is it at the speed that I would have liked? No, but I have seen movement. So I think we have to continue to have these conversations and continue to push, and continue to be. I think more and more continue to be uncomfortable with where we're at, and I think you will begin to pick up speed. So that's where I think I'm landing at, is we have to continue to move forward and pick up speed in order to get to where we want to be quicker.
I would offer this one thing to answer your question. It's a mindset shift, more so than anything else. You being from LA, I've got buddies, West Coast, East Coast, wherever. It's a mindset. The mindset there is different. So until you have that shift, and Joe put it on, it's the click type of thing. I have lawyers that I practice with from all over, and it's like, man, nobody else does business like this. And you know what I'm saying. It's difficult. It's not as easy. I can go deal with an Atlanta lawyer in a different manner than I can deal with a Birmingham lawyer. It's just culturally different. And I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You know what I mean? So I'm not a big city guy, as I just said. You know what I mean? I just had some fried chicken yesterday at my mama's house.
Oh, Jesus.
No cap. So I'm just saying, it's a mindset.
I do.
I do.
And I actually hire a lot of young women and that want to go into medical school, because I know that when I wanted to go to medical school, I didn't have the access. I couldn't just go shadow my, parents' friend who was a doctor. So I make that accessible to a lot of people in the community by hiring, doing internships, shadowing. And I agree, I think it does start with our kids. I don't know if we're going to be able to change a whole lot for the generation that we are right here. But that's one of my goals, is to be able to teach my child and other children the importance of entrepreneurship, and then to teach them along the way so that they have the resources to know how to do it, because I think that's what's been lacking in our generation. We didn't have anyone to teach us, but now that we're getting more entrepreneurs, African-American entrepreneurs, I think that if we all bond together and start working with this next generation, we'll definitely see a huge difference over time. But it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take us. Definitely.
All right. Well, that will conclude today's program. Thank you all so much.